When you think about the hottest and best defenders you've ever seen play, there are certainly some names that are always present in your mind, such as Sergio Ramos, Thiago Silva, Diego Godin, Marquinhos, Gerard Pique, and even Virgil van Dijk. However, the truth is that, apart from the first, none of these players are better than the most underrated defender of the generation and one of the most underrated players in the history of football, Mats Hummels. In this video, you will understand how much he is ahead of everyone else in every possible aspect for a defender to be considered good. With his recent performances in the quarterfinals and semifinals of the UEFA Champions League, you probably see it as a fad for people to praise Hummels and treat him, out of nowhere, as an extra-class defender. But that's just because you have no idea how much this guy has always been, and all this exaltation of the German defender is not fashionable. In fact, this is coming a good few years late. The truth is that Hummels has always been a regular defender, has always performed well, was extremely important in Borussia Dortmund's 2 consecutive Bundesliga titles, and to this day has performed with class and mastery. He only gained visibility now because he reached a final and was voted the best on the team. For those who have been following Dortmund and Bayern Munich for years, you know that this performance against PSG was simply a routine performance from the guy. To start this story, you need to understand a little about the beginning of Mats Hummels' career, which, if you didn't know and many people probably didn't know, started at Bayern Munich in 2007. Yes, he was revealed there and, after just one professional game, he was loaned to Borussia Dortmund, where he was acquired for good in 2009 and made history in the following years, winning 2 Bundesligas, a World Cup and a German Super Cup, in addition to that Champions League final in 2013, which was not almost. So, keep this important information in mind. He was trained at the Bavarian club and, from an early age, Hummels showed himself to be an extra-class player with good long balls, precise passes, and everything a defender can offer defensively. Very precise and crucial tackles, interceptions, cuts from the top and the ground, quick recovery, and strong aerial play, even helping in the attack from time to time. But this was never enough for him to be recognized among the great defenders in the world, and for many years he was not even among the 10 best defenders in the football community, being very underestimated and for no reason at all. In 2016, rumors began that he would leave Dortmund to play for rivals Bayern Munich, and he was placed on the traitor list, as Götze and Lewandowski were also important yellow squad players who left the club in previous years, and Hummels it would be just one more. But what if I told you that the Hummels case is different from the other two? Well, to begin with, neither Götze nor Lewandowski were trained at Bayern and, as I said at the beginning, Hummels became a professional there, and that certainly meant that he always maintained a fondness for him. After all, it was the club that gave him a career and provided professional training. But that's okay. He had already spent several years at Dortmund, so you can imagine that it would be ungrateful to leave for their rival, just as others did, since he had won titles and had created an identification with the Yellow Wall. But remember that he didn't leave for free. He wanted to be sold to at least help the club financially. And this is where another factor comes into the story: Thomas Tuchel. In mid-2015, Dortmund hired Tuchel, and the young German, who knew a lot of the tactics and was becoming known for it, started to join and work with the squad. But, as you already know, Tuchel is not the easiest guy to deal with, and if you don't know, it's because he hasn't watched my videos about Chelsea and Bayern Munich. But basically, a rumor emerged that Tuchel and Hummels didn't get along, and that may have influenced the player's decision to move away. And well, a proposal came from Rummenigge to have Hummels at Bayern Munich, and he went in the middle of 2016. In other words, he only stayed with Tuchel for one season, and even if it was just a rumor, it's very strange, and somehow something may have influenced this decision. So, it's not just a matter of rubbing shoulders with Hummels and saying that the Dortmund fans are wrong to be hurt, but it's a different case. He went through a mix of thoughts that shaped his decision. It was a good proposal from the club that revealed him. It was a stronger team that could give him a better chance of winning the Champions League, for example, and there was still a heavy atmosphere with Coach Tuchel. Things that didn't happen with Götze and Lewandowski. You can't judge Hummels and say that he made a decision just to win more titles or out of greed. They had other elements for this. But that's okay. Now he was at the biggest club in the country and at least the 3rd biggest club in the world. So he would be talked about a lot more, right? Yeah, it wasn't that right. In fact, Hummels continued to be underrated, and I even think it could be said that he had less press at Bayern Munich than he did at Dortmund. It's impressive. You never heard of him. nobody praised him in the same way they praised other defenders. You had a much bigger media presence for Bonucci, David Luiz, Varane, Marquinhos, Godin, Boateng himself, who was your teammate at club and country. And I'm sorry, man, it's not belittling anyone, but it's simply stating a fact. None of these players even hold a candle to Hummels. He is extremely superior to all of them in all aspects of the game, and I'm going to show that right away. But what do football fans think of Hummels? Well, the answer is there. I watched several videos of lists with the 10 best defenders of the year, 10 best defenders of all time, or 10 best defenders in current football, and man, in very few of the list was Hummels at the top. And in many of them, he wasn't even present. Yeah, man, a list of top 10 players of the year, best defenders of the year, and Hummels wasn't on it. Players like Ronald Araujo, Kim Min-jae, Militao, Lisandro Martinez, always present and taking high positions, and Hummels was not even mentioned on the list. Isn't that incredible? To understand Hummels' reality, you need to know that he is not just any defender. He is a defender completely different from the rest in all aspects of the game. Let's start with his main characteristic, disarming. Comparing Mats Hummels' tackle statistics with other defenders who have played in recent decades, such as Thiago Silva, Diego Godin, Raphael Varane, and Gerard Pique, we note that Hummels maintains a higher rate of tackles per game than most. This performance is due to his excellent reading of the game and positioning, which allows him to intercept passes and disarm opponents with great precision. During his career at Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, Hummels' statistics consistently showed an average of 2.5 to 3 tackles per game, while other elite defenders averaged around 2 tackles per game. Thiago Silva, known for his elegance and refined technique, maintains a tackle average slightly below that of Hummels, but makes up for it with his ability to position himself efficiently and his ability to lead the defense. Diego Godin, with his more physical and combative approach, also puts up good numbers, but often his main role involves more blocks and aerial duels than clean tackles. Raphael Varane, with his speed and covering ability, can stand out in recovery situations, but his tackle numbers are slightly lower than Hummels, reflecting a playing style more focused on anticipations and subtle interventions. Gerard Pique, in turn, combines excellent passing ability with defensive solidity, but his tackle average is also below that of Hummels, given that his role at Barcelona often requires more game construction than direct intervention. Hummels' ability to disarm stands out not just for the numbers, but for the consistency with which he applies these interventions throughout his career. His accurate reading of the game allows him to always be in the right place to intercept passes and interrupt opposing plays, significantly reducing the threats to his team's goal. Furthermore, his robust physique and ability to anticipate make him one of the most reliable and efficient defenders when it comes to winning the ball back. In short, Hummels' combination of tactical intelligence, positioning, and technical ability results in superior tackling statistics, highlighting him as one of the best defenders of his generation. Furthermore, Hummels has remarkable aerial skills. His success in aerial duels is around 70%, higher than that of many of his contemporaries, such as Pique and Varane, whose rates are around 65%. This competence in the air is not only vital for the defense, but is also a threat from set pieces and attack, resulting in important goals throughout his career. When it comes to game distribution, Hummels is often compared to players like Leonardo Bonucci and Virgil van Dijk. However, his passing stats, especially accurate long passes, stand out. With a pass accuracy rate of around 88%, Hummels not only maintains possession effectively, but is also capable of starting attacks with precise long passes, a trait that few defenders possess with the same effectiveness. In terms of long passes, his accuracy is remarkable, with around 75% accuracy, while the average for other top defenders is around 70%. In terms of consistency and regularity, Hummels also stands out. From his youth at Bayern to his crucial contributions at Dortmund and his return to Bayern, he has rarely had a subpar season, always maintaining a high level of performance, something many defenders fail to maintain for so long. Therefore, when we consider the combination of defensive skills, aerial play, distribution of play, and consistency, it is clear that Mats Hummels is one of the most complete and underrated defenders of his generation. His ability in all aspects of the game puts him ahead of many who are often considered superior, and it is this undervaluation that makes him truly an enigma in the world of football. Hummels stands out not only for his tackling ability, but also for his imposing presence in the air. His height and physical strength, combined with an excellent sense of positioning, make him a constant threat from set pieces, both defensively and offensively. Throughout his career, he has demonstrated a remarkable ability to score headed goals at crucial moments, contributing significantly to his team's success. In addition to his defensive qualities, Hummels is widely recognized for his exceptional game distribution ability. His ability to make long and precise passes, often breaking through opposing defense lines, allows him to initiate offensive plays directly from the defense. This unique ability not only relieves pressure on his teammates, but also quickly turns defense into offense, making him an invaluable asset to any coach. Consistency is another key factor defining Hummels' career. Throughout his spells at Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, he maintained an impressive level of performance, rarely making mistakes and often excelling in high-pressure games. This regularity not only demonstrates their quality, but also their durability and ability to stay in shape throughout challenging seasons. Despite all these qualities, Hummels often does not receive the recognition he deserves when compared to other elite defenders. While the likes of Thiago Silva, Gerard Pique, and Raphael Varane often dominate discussions of the world's best defenders, Hummels remains relatively underrated. This lack of recognition can be attributed, in part, to the more discreet profile he maintains off the field, contrasting with the greater media visibility of some of his contemporaries. In short, Mats Hummels is one of the most complete and versatile defenders of his generation. His combination of defensive skills, aerial play, distribution ability, and consistency places him at a high level, although often undervalued. It is this complexity and range in his game that makes him a true enigma in the world of football, deserving much more recognition than he usually receives.